So guys, Clash Royale decided to emergency buff the Cannoneer. The Cannoneer has now the same range as the Princess Tower. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I'm telling you, Cannoneer is absolutely game break. You guys won't believe me? Then you should watch this video now. It's so sad to see Supercell putting this type of Cannoneer tube behind a paywall. I just absolutely like playing Cannoneer. I have a ton of fun. I also think overall it's currently way better than Princess. I'm really trying to prove that to you guys today, especially in Cycle Deck. So if you're a Cycle player and you have the chance of playing the Cannoneer, if you bought it off, I would never say do it because it's ridiculous to spend that much money if you're not a content creator or pro player. If you're a pro player, you're kind of forced to do that if you want to compete in Clash Royale. And also, of course, I'm getting this kind of back with my content creation because I want to show it to you guys. But overall, I just hope at one point you guys will be able to play it in challenges also on. I just feel like in Cycle Decks, it's just working the best. So let me know if you guys tried the Cannoneer rating. What is your favorite deck with the Cannoneer? So I'm just going for the lock here. So there are a ton of different situations where I just feel like itself, this card works so well with the lock because just like lock Cannoneer kills barbarians, lock Cannoneer just does so well, especially with the cannon here against Royal Hogs. And there's some interaction which changed after the recent emergency buff. This is really easy to say. So one of the changes, or like the biggest changes, if you're now playing a cannon in the middle like this, both towers are targeting the two. Back then it was just like the one tower, right? But also like against the balloon, right? You're just gonna play the cannon in a normal spot there to kite the balloon. The left tower is also helping. Normally it was just the one Cannoneer tower helping, but now it's the same exact like situation as with the Princess Tower. Also, if you're like going on top of the free crown, it's not happening anymore that the right tower isn't helping. It's also now helping. So there are a ton of different interactions which are changing now, and you feel like you're doing way better. So this cannon placement now, the other tower is helping. Same for this. So against balloon, when you're going for this cannon placement, most likely you're like doing really well. And also against Royal Hogs, against Golem, against balloons, against Hogs, against Goblin Giants, the matchup gets way better. Because back then, before the buff, it was really hard to deal with this type of stuff because the opponent was just able to chip you down. But now I can just go for the cannon here. Of course, against evolution skeletons, it's kind of struggling there, but it's kind of fine because my cannon here is doing an okay job. And I'm just gonna go for another princess there. So I'm just gonna go lock there. That was that wasn't the best cannon of all time. Should have played the cannon. It was a kind of misclick. Let's go for my princess there. Princess plus Cannoneer, just like a really great combination. Same for Princess plus Lock. I just personally feel like in like Cycle Decks overall, you really love to have the Cannoneer in the deck. I give the Cannoneer honestly a 60-40 edge overall, in my opinion at least, over the Princess Tower after the new emergency buff. And Cycle Decks, I would always play the Cannoneer if I could. And also at the same time, this Logbait deck, it works really well. You're struggling against Swarm Troops, right? You're struggling against Swarm Troops, and this way you have the Princess, this way you have Chief Cycle, Log, the Ice Bird, the Goblins, and this is what makes it so good. So let's go for my cannon there. I'm just gonna go for my Ice Bird. Look at this, right? Both Cannoneer targeting the Hoggies, and just like everything is gonna be dead, right? No shots taken. I'm just gonna go for another Goblin Bird here. And this is normally a match where you feel like with the Princess Tower, you would immediately lose this matchup. He got Lock, he got Delivery, he got a Cheap Cycle, he got the Earthquake to kill the cannon. But we're still winning because we got the right stuff there with the Cannoneer in there. So of course there are also some matchups which get way worse. The best example I think is Graveyard. Graveyard gets way harder. Honestly also a hard matchup normally before that. So I don't really think it's that bad for Logbait, because I think Wiley agrees with if the Logbait player plays well enough, you're normally also losing with the Princess Tower against that. So you're not really throwing away a matchup. But of course, some other decks, also like some Swarm decks, can be tougher. Especially also like against other Logbait decks. So if you play Logbait versus Logbait in a mirror matchup, not just like that your tower has less HP to the start, so you need to get some more damage all the time, which is kind of disadvantage, of course. Also, of course, Cannoneer sucks against goblins and so on, so you're kind of always forced to over defend there. But of course, in a mirror matchup, I feel like with the Cannoneer, the biggest disadvantage is always that you're kind of starting off with a damage. Like with an HP disadvantage, I would say. So this is kind of the thing. In this type of situation, I'm just going to go take a Rocket Cycle. I got my Princess ready. Princess, Log, Ice Bird, Cannoneer is just absolutely incredible. So I'm just going to go for this. I'm just going to go for a cannon there. And as you guys can see here, the defense is absolutely magnificent. I'm just going to go for another Knight there, using my Log. Using my boy there. And I don't really think I need to do anything. I can just cycle my rocket. I'm just going to go for my barrel. I'm just going to go for my log here. And we won this game. Normally could think this is a tough matchup, but Cannoneer makes this matchup better. There's no need to play anymore a Princess Tower in a cycle deck. I'm not gonna see like any cycle deck which is better with the Princess Tower in it. I'm honest, I played this deck with Mind Control, I played this deck with Royal Hogs with Hog, and now I'm gonna play Logbait. I'm gonna tell you guys, I prefer the Cannoneer in this type of decks. How is it with Beatdown? How is it with Goblin Giant decks, with Elect Giant deck, which I personally hate to play against, and I love playing against them now because the matchup gets way better with the Cannoneer. I was losing before against Balloon decks, against Lavon decks with this deck. Of course, depends on the balloon version, but you don't need to always rocket the balloon anymore because the tower plus the cannon, like both towers plus cannon, yeah, it's just absolutely just demolishing that. So I just feel like overall doing really well there. But again, in beatdown decks, I'm not sure there. At beatdown decks, I just personally feel like still that the Prince Tower is better because you're struggling against Swarm Troops. You don't have the cheap answers like the Princess to deal with bats. And like bats at the bridge, for example, are really good play against beatdown decks with the Cannoneer and, as your tower troop, because you don't really have anything cheap to defend bats, right? And bats are always dealing a ton of damage because the Cannoneer needs ages to kill all of them. But with this deck, at example, you have the Prince, you got the Ice Birds, you're not really worried about playing against bats. But normally with like Electric Giant, example, you just have archers against that, and you never really want to commit archers against like bats at the bridge, right? It's like normally bats at the bridge isn't the play, but now it's a play actually, and some people are doing that here and there against me when I have the Cannoneer as a tower troop selected. So interesting deck here. I think this guy plays Electro Giant. Of course, the matchup gets great, which gets way better. I'm just praying that Supercell at least makes them available for grand challenges and classic challenge for everyone, that at least you guys can try it. I think some of you guys tried already in the challenges. As I said, let me know what you guys think, especially if you tried after the buff. Because in challenges everybody can play them, but of course it's not as competitive as in Trophy World and ladder and grand challenges there. But I'm gonna tell you guys, I personally am believing and I'm defending this opinion, not because Supercell is paying me, and not because I want to tell you, I'm gonna tell you because you need to pay Supercell for that, because it doesn't make sense, right? I'm just gonna tell you guys, in my opinion, Supercell kind of made the card too OP now on defense. And I just personally, I like playing this type of tower troop. I have fun because it's demolishing beatdown. I hate beatdown decks, but at the same time I think it's a wrong decision doing that by Supercell. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, because it's pay to win, not everybody can play it. So in my opinion, before making a tower troop like that broken, you need to remove the paywall. This is my standpoint. Supercell really needs to do that. So yeah, it's broken. In my opinion, it's really, really bad and not everybody has access to that. Of course, you can unlock it really, not really easily, but you can unlock that. But you won't be able to play it right on ladder because you will have it under leveled. So this is kind of thing about that. But in my opinion, Cannoneer is really, really broken. And it's really unfortunate that not everybody of you can at least try it out and play it, which is really, really bad. So yeah, I'm just going to go for the Golden Barrel there. So far, we're doing a great job of just like shipping away. He's not playing as Electro Giant yet, which I'm kind of surprised. Also, Log plus Cannoneer one-shots Little Prince, if you guys didn't know that. It's actually really, really mad interaction. So, let's go for my Ice Bird there. Really good Ice Bird. Okay, is it gonna go on tower? Never trust Bowler. I'm never gonna trust the Bowler. Okay, so let's go for my Knight. Do I take a rock? I think I'm just gonna go continue barreling. So we're still up on damage. So I feel like we're not really forced to do anything. I don't know about that. He kind of misplayed it, played way too late. And I can just go for the lock here. And you can just get way cheaper defense also against these heavy cards. There's a ton of Little Prince in the meta, there's a ton of Bowler in the meta, a ton of Knight. And normally your summons, you had to overcommit. Right now it's just like, you don't even need to defend it. A lock is enough, or like just a cheeky Ice Bird. So I'm just go for my Goblins there. I'm just gonna go for this, and I think here it's time for me to take the first rocket. So let's go for a barrel there. And now you guys are gonna see what I'm talking about, right? So you could just lightning this, of course, but at the same time, the Cannoneer alone is gonna kill everything. The Cannoneer alone is gonna kill everything. And this is crazy if you think about it. That's absolutely magnificent. So Yeah, I'm just gonna go for this here. He misses one of them, and yeah, I don't need to be over defending each other anymore. I'm not gonna panic. I'm not gonna panic. And there's some decks, some Psychic decks where you don't really have anything against Electro Giant, and you don't like you can now get way cheaper away because your tower is actually doing something. So I'm just going for my Log there. I mean, I'm just gonna go for my Rock. I'm just gonna go for my Bell. And look at this. Look at the Electro Giant. I'm not even like, I don't even have like DPS besides Goblins. Goblins, Ice Spirit plus Cannoneer is actually enough to completely counter Electro Giant. So guys, you're gonna ask me, is this deck also of course working with the Prince Tower? Yes, it is. And yeah, you can also use the Prince Tower. Of course, you guys know Riley is really good with Logbait, and he's always, of course, I think he's currently using this type of version, sometimes switching out the buildings if you're trying against air, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. I personally prefer Cannon, but Cannon is way worse against Lavon decks, way worse against Balloon decks. So for this type of sequences, maybe the Tesla might be a way better option in this deck, but with the Cannoneer, you can absolutely use the Cannon in there. So I'm just gonna go for my Goblins here at the bridge. Weird Goblins placement, kind of misplayed them, and we're playing against Rocket Cycle there. So, So against Rocket Cycle, of course, you have the big disadvantage that you start off with less HP on your tower, not gonna lie. So this is a good thing. So people actually asked for also like in half, like the same half as the Princess Tower. I personally would think this would be an absolutely horrible idea. I think this would be way too game breaking. I'm still thinking, I'm already thinking that Cannoneer is bad and Princess Tower overall, but this would be way too much. This would be way too much. Let me know what you guys think about that, but I personally think this would be a really bad idea. Just making the Princess Tower and also the Cannoneer the same HP. I just think this would be really bad. So let's go for my Golden Barrel there. Also gonna go Princess here at the bridge. So if people would ask me how many Cannoneers do I face, I would say like in the top of ladder, when I'm like playing or like pushing from top 100, I'm currently top 4 on my main account. I would say like from 20 games, maybe 2 times. So every 10th game, I feel like I'm facing the Cannoneer. That's not a lot. That's not a lot, but I feel like more people will purchase the offer now.
Well, whenever you're ready, you know where to find me.
Because I feel like I need to do it to compete. So I guess there will be like a higher use rate. And of course, not gonna lie, Supercell just absolutely buffed it because then they want people to spend, of course, money because, yeah, that's how it works. This is what they're gonna do currently. I'm not a big fan of that, of the monetization game. I feel like everybody's complaining about that for like because they can, especially B-Red. I think he'll have to Supercell create a team. Okay, so I'm just going for my Ice Spirit there. So I'm just going for my Barrel. Okay, I actually faced Ian and Riley earlier. I think like Ian used like a Balloon deck, which I actually won against. Even like I didn't have anything against air just because of the Cannoneer. He also had the Cannoneer against my Warthogs. It was a really interesting game, like facing off the pay-to-win YouTubers. So I'm just going for my Barrel there. Log. Goblins. We're doing a good job playing this so far. So you could think this matchup is pretty tough because he got Log, he got Tornado, he got Rocket. But I think so far we're doing a really good... No. This didn't happen, right? This didn't happen, right? Tell me this didn't happen, guys. So, this is not good. This is really not good. He goes in for a Log there. Ah! Okay. Princess. Knight. Can he do a rocket now? Things like he also needs 2 rockets. Bro, defensive mortar spam. I think this is like, this is a matchup where I feel like Cannoneer is worse. Cannoneer is worse. Of course, I messed up, was kind of unfortunate sequence there. But you, like, against the Evo Mortar, by the way, the Cannoneer is way better because it's going to one-shot them. So it gets less damage overall instead of one-shot, it gets 2 shots. But at the same time, in this type of matchups where you feel like you're playing like a Psychic deck with a Psychic deck, also against Minor Poison, if you're playing a similar deck, you always want to have the Prince Tower because the Prince Tower has more HP. So you have like more HP to rely on, especially in a defensive deck like that. So if you face Cycle versus Cycle, Minor versus Minor, Logbait versus Minor, I always think Prince is better than Cannoneer, but he played it really well overall and I messed up in one situation. Cannoneer could have been a great addition because it does so well against mid-ladder decks. You do really well with it against Golem, Weirdo decks, you do really well against Mega decks, against a Leaper Baron deck, but this is exactly the problem that you can. But no, you actually can't, because it's pay to win and not everybody wants to spend Clash Royale that much money on Clash Royale, which is absolutely understandable. So I felt like if they would like kind of work around this and would have been like more free to play friendly option, I would think it could be a good addition to Clash Royale, since a ton of people hate playing against mid-ladder decks, right? You're doing really bad against them, you just hate losing against overleveled mega players, and this is something I think could be actually helpful for you guys to have more fun Clash Royale, beating this overleveled players now because of Cannoneer being so good against it. And having like also, I would say Cannoneer is one of the lower, it's like a lower skill tower troop, I would say, in my opinion, compared to the Prince Tower, because it does like just like so much damage. So sometimes you can just over defend and spam Brainless at the bridge, because the Cannoneer is just saving everything, because you don't need to overspend anymore. So, for example, like throwing in a rocket aggressively, normally you would get punished with that with an Electro Giant, but you just need to defend like with Ice Bird and Knight, at example, instead of also going for the cannon. So this is what I would say, like you need like, I think it's like way easier to play for Cannoneer and have success with compared to the Princess Tower with few different decks. So I'm just going for my Ice Bird there. It's not gonna do something because it's absolutely busted. So my Prince is gonna stay alive. I'm just gonna go in there with this. He goes in for the Hog Radial. Okay, I'm just gonna go for my Log there. It's gonna get one shot, but it's overall okay. We still got a ton of damage. I'm just gonna Princess there because I kinda need to. I'm just going for my Ice Bird there. I just hope Ice Bird is going to clean up everything. Perfect. Mini Pack gets a shot, but I can just absolutely take this one. I just want to make sure the bats aren't chipping away. Bats are, I think, the most annoying card as a Cannoneer player. I'm not gonna lie, because normally when you play against if you play against a minor Wallbreaker player, they just always apply aggression with Spear Goblins and Wallbreaker, right? But now they're also applying they're applying pressure with just bats at the bridge. That's a bit annoying. Okay, we're playing against Witch. The most normal Clash Royale deck, of course. I'm just going to Cannon there. So that was a really interesting Firecracker try. Fortunately for us, didn't work out. I'm just going to go Prince in case he goes for freeze. But he's not. He's not. He's a nice guy. I'm just going to Ice Bait. Why the heck does he... What does he even play here, right? So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Against mid-layer decks, it should be way better. Also against overlevel players. Just because of the straight-up DPS. And I mean, Princess Tower isn't even killing overleveled Skami at the same time, so you don't really need it anyway. So I'm just going for my cannon there. Okay, perfect. We're staying alive. I would like to win this one. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't like to use against Jimper SH. I'm not playing too well. I don't really want to use excuses, but sometimes it's also not easy play and focus at the same time. So let's go for my Ice Bait. I'm just gonna go Log. Okay, good. Good defense. Let's go on a barrel. Now I'm just gonna go Log. There he goes, defensive freeze, which allows us to kind of take a breath there. Using another Princess there. Using our Goblins. And now I think we finally should get him. There's no way he's going to defend this without taking like a ton of damage, right? Log plus Rocket is going to do enough. So I'm just going to go Rocket now. I could have also Rocket the opposite lane, but it's enough! It's enough anyway! GG's, well played! Let's go! Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section, guys. Do you guys prefer the Cannoneer or the Prince Tower? Am I right? Am I wrong? What does Banner right now in Clash Royale? And how annoying is Supercell putting this card behind the paywall?